opening.
I mean, here's the thing: stopping illegal immigration and also stopping the abuse of illegal immigrants and also legal immigrants who come through the H-1B visa program. So it's not only are we getting these immigrants out, but we're also stopping the extortion of the ones that are in here.
Pathways for truly
Illegal
extraordinary
and legal,
people
sadly,
to come contribute to America instead of taking away from it. So this executive order is entitled the Gold Card. It will set up a new pathway, a new visa pathway for foreigners of extraordinary ability who are committed to supporting the United States for a payment of $1 million to the U.S. Treasury, or if a corporation is sponsoring them, $2 million by that corporation. And that will give them access to expedited visa treatment as part of this new Gold Card program.
And one of the biggest problems we have is that people, they go to the best schools and they do great and they get great marks, and then they're thrown out of the country. You're not allowed to stay. This way, a corporation will be able, sort of like a signing bonus in baseball or football, a corporation will be able to get them to stay in the country. And I think it's going to be tremendously successful. Howard, would you say a few words about it, please?
Sure. So
I mean, here's the thing. At least it just stops the abuse of, honestly, having our intellectual property stolen. Because a lot of these foreigners will come here, go to school here, and they will pretty much engage in the studies on these universities and take all that back to the homeland. Don't really benefit none of our companies or anything like that. No, they take it right back to their homeland. So, yeah, I'm not really for that. But, hey, at least they're making them pay to do it. I mean, if they're going to do it, at least make them pay a hefty price.
Historically, the employment-based green card program let in 281,000 people a year. And those people, on average, earned $66,000 a year on average. And they were 5 times more likely to go on assistance programs of the government. So we were taking in the bottom quartile, below the average American. It was illogical. The only
and here's the problem: the H-1B visas were being used to replace your American scholars, mainly your tech guys. I mean, I've seen this all over the tech industry, where instead of hiring your MIT graduate or your STEM, or your guy with a STEM degree who is an American who went to an American university, they'll go ahead and bring in somebody from overseas. Because the problem is, you hire that American student, even at an entry level, you probably got to pay him at least $70,000. You bring in the H-1B visa guy, you could pay him $50,000 and then probably max out at $80,000. But that American citizen, you're going to end up paying that young man or young woman about 6 figures plus eventually. But they don't got to do that with the H-1B visa guys, because they can also kind of extort them as well. Got to go like, well, if you ask for more, I can send your ass back home. Like, come on now.
Country in the world,
very sad situation.
Taking in the bottom quartile. So what we are doing now is we are going to stop doing that. We're going to only take extraordinary people at the very top. Instead of people trying to take the jobs from Americans, they're going to create businesses and create jobs for Americans.
Exactly.
And this program will raise more than $100 billion.
Because there's no way we should be using H-1B visas for entry-level positions. Like, okay, if we need to bring in a specialist who can teach us a new skill, great, cool, bring that guy in and then let him go back home. But we're not just going to sit there and fill up a whole bunch of entry-level positions with a whole bunch of immigrants and then sit there and tell the American people, well, oh, you just don't want it. You just don't want it, to be honest. Oh, you guys don't go there like that. Well, of course not. You're giving it to all the immigrants. And then you want to create and make it a stereotype like immigrants are supposed to be doing, are the only ones that are supposed to be doing the high-tech work or the STEM work. Like, what about Americans? It seems like the Dems depend more on illegals or legal immigrants more than they depend on the American people. Or I guess they believe in them more than they believe in their own people.
For the Treasury of the United States of America.
Which we'll use for cutting taxes and paying down debt. We think it's going to be very successful. Essentially, we're having people come in, people that in many cases, I guess, are very successful or whatever. And they're coming in, they're going to spend a lot of money to come in. They're going to pay as opposed to walking over the borders, and they may come from jails, prisons, and everything else. These people don't. They're very productive people, and they're going to pay $1 million. The corporation's going to pay $2 million, and it's going to raise billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars, which is going to go to reduce taxes, pay off debt, and other good things. So I think it's going to be very successful.
Mr. President,
What?
big techs, are the big techs on board with this decision?
I wish you'd speak more clearly. I really do. Give it to me again.
Are the big techs, the CEOs on board with this decision?
Big techs?
Tech companies. Big tech companies.
Yeah, big tech. Yeah, it's big tech. It's every company. It's big tech. It's big tech. It's big everything. Okay?
It's mainly big
It's
tech.
a company. I said it's not a.
Like, if you want to know the main perpetrators of abusing H1B visas, it's big tech. Like, let's be all the way honest. I mean, from Elon to Mark Zuckerberg to the guy that owns Google, they all abuse H1B visas, all of them. Nobody's innocent in that. And when it comes to the tech guys, none of them are innocent.
Company. It's tech companies and everything else. It's companies having a hard time getting people to be able to stay in the country. It's very difficult. Now, if you want to walk through the border, you can have no problem. People say, well, the best way to come in is walk right through the border, but they can't do that anymore because under our administration, the border is totally closed. You can only come in if you come in legally, and that's the way it's been, and that's the way it should be. And we're taking a lot of people out of the country that are here from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, and even insane asylums, people that are crazy. We're taking them out of the country. We're getting them out of the country because you can't have a country like that. And I tell you, Christie and Tom Holman and all of the people that have worked so hard on this, they've done an unbelievable job. And I think we're getting great marks for it. People feel safe. Washington, D.C. is just the beginning. We brought the numbers down in Chicago a little bit by having the FBI in there for the last 5 months. We brought the numbers down in Memphis a little bit, but now we're going for the big one. Now we're going to.
And yeah, well, if you haven't heard already, I mean, there were protesters outside of an ICE facility, and things got a little bit hectic to the point where they had to arrest some white lady who was trying to rip off one of the ICE agents' masks, or one of the ICE officers' masks, and they ended up arresting her for that. And it got a little hectic to the point where that crowd kind of got a little riled up, and they had to start using tear gas. So, this is the perfect case of.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Am I wrong?
Go for the big one. But we set ourselves up very well in Chicago, Memphis, New Orleans a little bit, going in early just to see what was happening. We study it. We're studying the site. It's sort of like war. I mean, I hate to tell you, it's like war. Some of these people are really bad. They're really, really sick people. They're dangerous people. They're killers. They're murderers, drug dealers, and can have it. You can't have a country like that. It's so beautiful to see at Washington, D.C., that people are walking down the middle of the street and they're going to restaurants, and you are too. And half of you were mugged. I mean, I don't know if she's here now. I don't see her, but, some people were badly mugged that were reporters. 2 of the people right standing in the back of the room were mugged. And not going to have that anymore. And if you look at the crime stats in Washington, D.C., you have a safe place again. They were afraid to go to a restaurant because the restaurant would be held up while they're having dinner. And so they'd be mugged going there. And assuming they escaped the mugging, they go to the restaurant and then they're held up. This is how bad it's been. Yep.
Honestly, DC is just like Chicago. It's one of them cases where when the crime gets too bad in the low income areas or the impoverished areas, when it gets too bad, it starts spilling over into the nice areas. And that's what happens apparently when you got a Democrat mayor who doesn't really want to fix the problem of crime in these inner cities. It's kind of funny. They kind of depend on the crime rate of these outer cities that tend to lean Republican to keep their state's crime rate low. But when it comes to these inner cities that are Democrat ran, the crime rate tends to be skyrocketed, and they tend to be the most violent city in that state.
To follow up on the visa question, I think this may be the next thing that you're signing, but for the H1B visa action,
that's going to be next. We'll talk about that.
You're very close to the technology CEOs. Are they concerned about that?
I think they're going to be very happy. Everyone's going to be happy. And we're going to be able to keep people in our country that are going to be very productive people. And in many cases, these companies are going to pay a lot of money for that. And they're very happy about it. Okay, we'll talk about that next, all right? Okay. my friend. Why don't you keep that, okay?
Thank you.
That's such a good job. Okay. It's phase one. John, you happy? Take. Okay, let's go.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most abused visa systems in our current immigration system has been the H-1B non-immigrant visa program. This is supposed to allow highly skilled laborers who work in fields that Americans don't work in to come into the United States of America. What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H-1B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that
And before I touch on this subject of the H-1B visas, I do like to remind, my Democrat or my liberal watchers that you guys remember that every time you bring up red states, you kind of prove our point even more. Like, what's the highest crime city in Louisiana or in Alabama or in Arkansas? They're Democratic ran cities. So you guys prove our point when you say, oh, look at these high crime red states. And then we're going, okay, cool. What are the highest crime areas? Oh, these blue cities that's ran by Democrats. Oh, that's so crazy. Ain't that just amazing? So you're over here pretty much proving our point, letting us know that for some reason, Democratic leadership equals high crime for some strange reason that you guys can't explain.
What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H-1B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that the people they're bringing in are actually very highly skilled.
Exactly. So instead of just bringing in these H-1B visas for entry level or mid-level positions, if this company is willing to pay $100,000 a year plus the salary of that individual, then obviously he must be here to do some type of training, or he has a special skill that we just can't get nowhere else, or that's of rarity. And the other companies already ate the other specialists up. If that's the case, okay. But if not, then it would be a complete waste of money if you got to spend $100K a year plus pay that man's salary when you could just get an American citizen and just have to pay that man's salary instead of paying $100K a year to keep him in the United States.
And that they're not replaceable by American workers. So it'll protect American workers, but ensure that companies have a pathway to hire truly extraordinary people and bring them to the United States.
We need workers. We need workers. We need great workers. And this pretty much ensures that that's what's going to happen. I think, Sean, you agree with that?
Well, they're $100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land, train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. They love it. They really love it. They need it. Go ahead, Sean.
Mr. President, it seems like there's two categories of visa programs. The H-1B, a lot of people believe take American jobs, and then the gold card and programs like EB-5 that add value and jobs to America. Is that sort of how you look at the visa program?
Well, ideally, look, if somebody's got the people, they're not going to want to spend $100,000 as an example in your second category. So it's
I know, pretty much like I said, like, bro, they're not going to spend $100K just to bring in an entry level guy when they can low-key just get an American citizen. Now, if it's a specialist type of ordeal and this guy may be one of a kind, or like I said, all the companies ate up the other specialists and you need to bring one from overseas, then okay, pay that $100K, pay that man his salary. And then once y'all don't need him no more, send him back. That's the option that he's providing these guys, instead of just letting these guys take in these entry level positions that's supposed to be meant for American citizens. But hey, for some reason, you Dems don't believe in that, or you just don't believe in the American people.
Taking jobs. And we need certain jobs. We need certain skill jobs that we don't have. But they won't be taking jobs because, ideally the people aren't going to want to, they're not going to have. Right, that's right.
So that's what I'm asking.
They're really investing in
it. Seems like you have two categories. One, the Secretary left the gold card and EB-5 that create jobs, add investment, and there's other ones that seem to take, whether it's a J1 and O or an H-1B that take U.S. jobs.
Yeah, it's pretty correct. I would say that's a correct assessment. But the main thing is we're going to have great people coming in, and they're going to be paying. I mean, it's wonderful to say, oh, gee, we took in 25 million people. that, look, many criminals, jails were opened from Venezuela, from many other countries, and they were let out of jail and poured into our country, our poor country, how it suffered with this stupid president that we had and the stupid people that surrounded him right around this desk, these liberal, crazy people that have destroyed, they could have destroyed. If we didn't win this election, our country would have been dead. Our country was dead.
Man, you know, it's so crazy. I love that Dems are arguing against this because it kind of proves your hypocrisy. You're pretty much saying that we want the liberal elites to get cheap labor, just like you were pretty much championing farm slavery, like wild as hell, but literally championing farm slavery for illegal immigrants. Because, well, you're not going to pick the fruits, so we should allow a bunch of people to get extorted to go pick fruits. Really, that's your argument? Oh, well, they'll just move the jobs overseas. I'm like, hold on now. Like, first off, do y'all really hear yourselves here? Do y'all believe in Americans or not? No, let's be honest here. And do you honestly think that just because Google can't flood their entry positions with a whole bunch of Indians or Asians, you think they're going to go overseas? I mean, all right, then y'all must not know business too well or how their profits work here. But hey, it is what it is.
Think of it. And I've said this, man. The king of Saudi Arabia said, your country was dead 1 year. They thought it was dead. This country couldn't have survived another year of those people running it. And now we have the hottest country.
I can officially sit here and say that the Dems, honestly, they don't even know it, but they blindly support the corporate elites. Because who else would want you guys to say this? Who are you speaking for? The American people or the corporate elites? You're pretty much saying, well, they could just send their job overseas, which they won't. But they want you guys to think that, just like they got y'all fear mongering about tariffs, even though I would say 90% of Dems don't know how the tariff works.
Anywhere in the world. Think of that. And this is going to help. And we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. This will be taken in, the gold card will be taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. And companies will be able to keep some people that they need. You know, they need people of expertise, great expertise. And I think it's going to be a fantastic thing. And we're going to take that money and we're going to reduce taxes. We're going to reduce debt. We have a very, very strong country. We assuming everything works out great with the lawsuit.
And guys, all the corporations like Google, American corporation, NVIDIA, OpenAI, American. So all these big tech bro companies are American corporations. That's why these guys need to get H1-B visas to come over here. I mean, think about how dumb you guys sound. If they could have just shipped all the jobs overseas, then why not just do that? Make everything so easier. That's why they got to bring them here. And let's be real, it's harder to do business in India and China. It's way harder to do business over there than it is in here. This is the best country to do business. This is the country, this is one of the only countries that protect your intellectual property. That's why they don't want to do business over there like that. That's why they just keep it with production, because this is the only country where your intellectual property is truly protected. You dumbasses. But all right, let's keep it going.
We have a lawsuit that's inspired by foreign countries that ripped us off for 25 years. But assuming we win that, we hopefully win it in the Supreme Court of the United States. We have a country that no stopping us. We're rich, we'll be rich. We can take care of poor people. We can take care of our military. We can take care of everything. We can take care of beyond the country. We can help take care of the world. That we don't, it would just be the same struggle that we've had for years where other countries charged us tariffs and they ripped us off. Our country has been ripped off more than any country in the history of the world.
I know, especially when it comes to tariffs. And here's the thing, man, I swear, the Dems come with the most disingenuous arguments for these types of, for this discussion. They keep saying it's a tax on the American people. I'm like, okay, well, why isn't there a tax crisis in India? Because India has high tariffs on all products coming in, just to protect their domestic economy. So is India taxing their people to death, and why aren't they complaining about it? I guess tariffs must not work the way you think. They just don't go straight to the consumer like you guys say. And then here's also a thing. Let's keep consistency of the argument. So if tariffs can get passed down to the American consumer, let's keep this consistency. Then what about corporate tax? What about raising the corporate tax? That could have been passed down to us. Tax on unrealized gains. That could have been passed down to us. So if we're really going off the logic of this, then that means if we'd have had Kamala Harris in office, the tax on the American people would have been like doubled. by your logic.
And now we're doing what we have to do. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars at levels that nobody has ever seen, trillions of dollars. And we're using it to reduce debt. We're using it to reduce taxes. The great big beautiful bill is a big tax reduction. It's being paid for by the tariffs, and people are paying a lot less money in taxes.
Then why
They're
do you
being
even want
think of it, no tax on tips.
And here's the crazy part, because I took a little glimpse into the chat and people saying, well, yeah, they're all passed down. Then why do you even want to tax the rich in the first place? Do you hear yourselves? That's what I'm saying. You don't make sense. You guys are not consistent with your arguments. Then what's the point of wanting to tax the rich? What is all this? The rich need to pay their fair share if they can just pass it down to your ass. Where's the argument then?
No tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's an unbelievable phenomenon. It really is. It's the golden age. We're making it the golden age. Without the tariffs, it would be impossible. And China, for years, charged us tariffs, and they continue to do it. And so do other countries. Most countries, they charge us. They were ripping. Look, the European Union, as you know, I get along very well with them, but they ripped us off so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything. Now, the European Union is paying us $950 billion, and they're paying us $750 billion to buy our energy, and they're okay with it. They signed the agreement.
What?
No, it's not like anybody forced them to do it. They're okay with us.
Yeah.
Tariff.
And you know what? Somebody literally said that, oh, America's built on the genius of immigrants. Wrong. These immigrants come over here and get genius from Americans. They come over here in our schools and get taught by American scholars, and they take that knowledge. So no, actually, that's the scam that's ran today. We're not ran off the genius of immigrants. We're ran off the genius of hard workers and Americans, of course, of course. But here's the problem. The fact that you guys think that immigrants are the guys who deserve to be in these high paying jobs and not Americans, you think they work harder than all Americans. That's just not true. And then if that's how you feel, then take your ass to their country then. Well, no, get up out of America. If they're such hard workers, then why isn't their country doing better than ours? India, come on, guys. You guys work harder than us. Why doesn't your country do better than ours? I thought so. I mean, China, why doesn't your country do better than ours? I thought so. Anybody else? Why isn't your country doing better than ours? If you guys got all the geniuses, but we're the most advanced country in the goddamn world. But you guys got all the geniuses somehow, though, right? Something ain't making sense.
Are making our country very rich again, and we'll be able to take care of our debt. We'll be able to take care of our taxes, lower taxes. We'll be able to take care of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We're going to be a rich country again. Without tariffs, we'd be in very big trouble.
Well, that and people kind of forgot the goal of tariffs. It's to kind of make shipping jobs overseas basically too expensive. And that's what a lot of these guys are doing, especially the car companies and the tech companies. When we put tariffs on these guys on our products to bring them in, it forces them to bring their jobs back here, unless they want to just go ahead and take it to the profit margin. But I doubt that they love China or India that much. And that's why a lot of car companies and even Apple has agreed to do end-to-end manufacturing in America. So it's working. And the whole point of tariffs was to bring jobs and investment back into America, which it has been doing, admittedly. I know you guys may want to go on with the rhetoric that is passed on to the American consumer. Well, shit, man, so is those investments.
Sometimes used by people already in the country legally on other visas or student visas. Does this apply to them or to renewals, or does it only apply to people applying for the first time from abroad?
Renewals, first times, the company needs to decide, is that person valuable enough to have $100,000 a year payment to the government, or they should head home and they should go hire an American.
Yep.
The whole idea, it's annual, and it's for total. It can be a total of 6 years. So 100,000.
Here's the thing. We don't need these immigrants because they're geniuses. I'm not saying that they're not smart, but honestly, they're no smarter than any American that we can develop. They're not smart. They're just cheap. I'm going to tell you one more time. They're not smart. They're just cheap. So, yeah.
$1,000 a year. So either the person is very valuable to the company and America, or they're going to depart and the company's going to hire an American. And that's the point of immigration. Hire Americans and make sure the people coming in are the top people. Stop the nonsense of letting people just come into this country on these visas that were given away for free. President is crystal clear. Valuable people only for America. Stop the nonsense.
And remember, the country, yeah,
Fee to America.
the country.
We should be depending on our American people and not let the corporate elites feed us this bullshit about, oh, well, we need these immigrant geniuses for cheap labor. They're no smarter than you. Could cut the bullshit out. They need these guys for cheap labor. And the crazy thing is shame on you, Dems, for bitching about these guys all the damn time, but then holding water for them almost every week. You're against H1-B visas being like, bro, you're against these guys having to pay a fee to take a job away from an American? You guys should be all for sticking it to the corporate elites, but you're sitting here shaking ass in a circle for them. Like, I'm confused with you guys at this point. At this point, you guys have lost your way, and it's just about hating Trump.
You would rather not have to pay $100,000, but and they'd rather. How do you do that? You hire Americans. So there's an incentive to hire American, but there may be instances where it's better off doing through expertise or whatever it may be. But they're both unbelievable, whether it's a gold card or anything else that we talked about today, and that includes talking about freedom of speech, because our country has been decimated by bad people, very bad people, people that love crime. They love crime. Explain it to me. They don't want to have our military go in and save lives. But when you go and ask the people, do you mind having the National Guard come in if it meant safety? They look at the questioner like, what's wrong? What kind of a stupid question is that? Of course I do. We're going to have a safe country again. We're not going to have people shot. 11 people shot. Mm-hmm. Think of it. In Chicago, over a period of 6 or 7 weeks, 55 people were murdered. And then you have a governor saying how wonderful it is. It's not wonderful. It's a very unsafe. There's not a place in the world. You go outside, you go to Afghanistan, you go to different places all over the world that you hear about. It's 20% of what's happening in places like Chicago. And you think of them as unsafe. Mexico City, it's a tough place, dangerous place. The crime rate is lower. Think of it. What's happening to our country? We're not going to let it happen. And I think I got elected largely for that reason. So we're going to have a safe country again. We're going to have a great country again. We're doing unbelievably. We have the highest stock market in history. We have the most investment we've ever had, ever, as a country coming in. And we're very simple. You know, they said, how'd you get elected? I got elected because I'm going to make America great again. That's what we're doing. We're making America great again. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
And,
guys.
you know, let's give the honest, let me give you the honest reporting about the economy right now is that right now what's concerning is the rise in unemployment, which is at 4.3. And what is also concerning is the low job numbers. But, I mean, he is right, though. I mean, we are reaching new highs in the stock market. So, I mean, that's one good thing that's going right. But in terms of the jobs and all that good stuff, well, a lot of people are blaming that on immigration crackdowns. I mean, think about it. We just got 400 new positions that opened up in Georgia in that Hyundai factory. So I'm pretty sure that adds to the numbers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go right on this way. Thank you.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get over to this Trump interview. Trump says, man, these people are crazy. And, well, you guys slightly are. Well, most of you.
You just mentioned the TikTok deal with China. And among the many conversations that have happened in the aftermath of the assassination of your good friend, Charlie Kirk, has been the terrible effects that social media has had on young people. And among the platforms that have been spewing this hatred and these cheering people about Charlie Kirk's assassination is TikTok. So the question is it...
Which is crazy, though, that, you know, nobody's really gotten taken down for hate speech, because I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't really feel too bad about Kemu because there are community guidelines and standards, you know, and companies have them. Social media platforms have them. And, you know, sometimes these guys like to pick and choose who they want to enforce what rule on. They do. They pick and choose. corporate media platforms and social media platforms alike. And what happened to Kimmel was a perfect example of that. And here's the thing, for 4 years, the Dems sat by and watched exactly what happened to Kimmel happen to other people, smaller creators on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Y'all sat back and let it happen, cheered it on. It happens to one of your kind. You guys lose your shit. And here's the thing, like, I didn't really complain about it because what happened? If you break the community guidelines, it's YouTube's platform. You got freedom of speech. That means nobody can arrest you, but it doesn't mean nobody can't kick you off the platform. And that's exactly what happened to Kimmel.
Worth it for the damage
suspended off the platform
that it has done in many ways to our kids.
So I didn't know too much about TikTok, and Charlie actually recommended it to me. He said, you should go on TikTok, but other people too. And I went on TikTok and I really hit big. I mean, I think I had more views than any.
Wrong, Kathy. Actually, no. Actually, here's the problem, Kathy, and this is why I'm gonna read it out first. Shout out Kathy Hall. She says, yeah, Hyundai is not opening. What are you talking about? They're pulling their contract from Georgia because of that lady calling immigration. Actually, wrong. They're not doing that. Actually, they've written an apology because they were actually getting taxpayer relief. Yes, they were getting tax relief on the backs of us, the American people, or the people in that community, really. And they weren't giving jobs to American citizens. That's the problem, Kathy. And no, they've actually promised to start hiring American employees, and they're throwing their hands and going, oh, we didn't know. We didn't know that their visas expired. We didn't know that some of them came in illegally. Our bad. So no, you're actually wrong about that. I don't know who told you that. Whoever told you that lied to you. Because why would they end their contract when they literally got a tax break on the backs of the American people? And then they could have honestly got brought up on fraudulency because, yeah, you're getting a tax break on the American people, but you're hiring illegals? When you literally came here under the contract, they said, yeah, we're going to hire American citizens and you're going to give us this tax break on the back of American citizens. And they didn't do that. What are you talking about? It's like, and like I said, you hold water for the corporate elites. You literally championing the corporate, like Hyundai, a corporation, doing the American people dirty, getting tax breaks on the American people's back, and you're gonna sit here and tell me, oh well, we should be sitting there championing the South Koreans. What about the American people they were supposed to hire? Do you hear yourself?
Anybody else in the world, actually. And as you know, I did phenomenally with youth, young people, very young people, young voters that typically are Republican. I think Romney got like 6% or something like that. It wasn't so long ago. And I got tremendous, millions and millions.
And shout out to Go.Blend Cafe. Hey, nice. Literally saw you on shorts. Crazy times, huh? Yes, crazy times. We got people out here like literally getting mad at Trump for being a billionaire, but then holding water for other billionaires, like literally arguing for other billionaires, like literally championing the corporate elite to literally undermine the American people. That's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know how y'all call yourselves American.
Huge swing.
Young kids.
Absolutely.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I give TikTok and Charlie and probably some other reasons, but we did well. But I got to understand TikTok. You're right. They said negative, but they also said mostly positive about Charlie. I mean, the statements on TikTok and other places. Now, look, I saw on Fox and I saw on others some of the quotes that people made that was so horrible. And you say, where do these people live? Where do they come from? They said horrible things about the death of Charlie. And I guess we just have sick people out there. I mean, even if you didn't like them, you can't say the kind of things that they say.
True.
But that was long beyond TikTok. That was things that were said.
So there's a lot of things out there. And you have this executive order now that we just heard about on political violence and hate speech.
Right.
And you want to make Antifa a terrorist organization.
They are.
Do you believe that there is a vast terrorist movement in the United States that people need to be aware of? And is it responsible for Charlie Kirk's killing, for the attempts on your life, for these CEOs that we saw in New York City? Is there something people need to understand?
You never know, and we'll find out maybe. But in the meantime, we're going to do a big thing with respect to.
Actually, and Kathy, just to go ahead and fact check you, AP News said about 2 days ago, Hyundai says it will spend $2.7 billion expanding parts of the Georgia complex rated by ICE. They went ahead and put in more money because they know they were dead wrong for what they did. in the contract that they signed that they violated, pretty much just disrespecting everybody in that city. Like, yeah, we'll take your taxpayer dollars. We'll take the tax break that's on y'all, but we won't give y'all no jobs. But yes, AP News, go ahead, look up the title. Hyundai says it will spend $2.7 billion expanding part of the Georgia complex rated by ICE. There you go.
Antifa, it's a
The
sick
fact.
group. I mean, very, very sick group. We have a lot of things. They love burning the American flag. I think it's terrible that they burn the American flag. We're going in and we're saying it incites riots, and therefore you go to jail for 1 year if you burn the American flag.
I mean, if you burn the flag in your own yard on video, go ahead, do what you do. But if you burn it in public, you are somewhat inciting violence, because most likely people don't take that too kindly, and they most likely are going to come up to you and try to, you know, put hands on you. Like I said, it's really, like I said, one of the perfect cases of.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Pretty much.
Flag. That's different than Antifa, but Antifa burns a lot of American flags because, as you know, the free speech got us on the American flag. The courts have ruled free speech, so we're going to go on an incitement of riots. I saw it the other day.
Worry that this.
I saw it the other day on your show. They have an American flag, and a guy starts burning it, and the people went crazy about it, and they ended up rioting all over the place. So we think that's a reason also, and we're going into the courts with that, which is incitement. Antifa causes tremendous incitement, and the things they say and the things they do are horrible. So we're going to find out.
You said millions and millions.
Yeah, and let's be honest with you, like, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, like I said, if you ain't had nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. You remember that old saying that your teacher, your parents used to say, if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And here's the thing, if you didn't even care, then shut the hell up. There's a lot of people out there going, well, I don't care about the death. Then shut the hell up. Like, you don't need to say anything then. But the problem is, when you got guys like Jimmy Kimmel that's over here trying to frame it as MAGA incorrectly, and then while he sits there and brag about how he has a whole team that fact checks all this stuff, it makes you wonder, because there's a weak case by the FCC about news distortion. I don't think they can really hit Kimmel for that, because he has plausible deniability to say that, oh, I didn't know about those facts about the shooter that came out. But it was wrong of him to just go out there and just blatantly say with no facts at all that, oh, we know this is MAGA trying to push this off on us. It's insensitive. Then to sit there and pretty much say that Trump, is mourning Charlie Sheen like he mourned a goldfish. I mean, you know what? I wouldn't really, joke about somebody mourning their dead friend, but hey, if that, it is what it is.
Billions of dollars going
distasteful,
towards some
okay.
of these groups for agitation the other day.
They're agitators.
Who are they?
Well,
and where's the money coming from? Is it foreign entities?
Yeah, you're going to find out, and we're going to find out in great detail. And it surprised me that Biden wouldn't have done it, because it really became hot over the last 3-4 years. It surprised me that Biden wouldn't do it. But then as I got to know him, first of all, he didn't call the shots. He wasn't calling the shots. But as we got to see what was happening in Biden's group, Antifa plays perfectly for them, absolutely.
And shout out to my man H3I. The Korean workers were there to train American workers on how to use the machinery in the Hyundai factory. Wrong. That's what I'm saying. You're wrong. Because let's be real, the machinery wasn't that hard to use. And also, they were, like I said, they were contracted to hire American citizens. So if they were going to bring in some guys to help work it, then there should have been probably up to 10 people at least for training. Maybe 20 just for trainers. What are you doing having people work the whole line full of immigrants? And then some of these guys are working on expired visas. Some of these guys are not supposed to be here. That's why there was an ICE raid in the first place. They weren't, see, bro, people like, I'm not gonna say people like you, but honestly, that's very misinformed. You're being very misinformed. If you're really gonna sit here and say that, they were all there to train them, then why were there 400 of them? And then why are there not as many as Americans in there? If it was about training Americans, think about what you're saying. If it's about training Americans, why the hell there are 400 people in there with questionable residency status? Make it make sense. Oh, you can't, because a lot of them weren't supposed to be there. And to find out that a North Korean, I believe some type of North Korean company owned it, and they were doing their own duplicitous actions in there. But y'all didn't look into it that deeply, did y'all? Even the CEO pretty much said that, yeah, there's some type of Well, the CEO came out and said, look, I didn't know about this. The Korean guys that we work with this pretty much handled that site, and that's why it didn't get to me. And that's what the CEO said. And you can look it up. It's in a CNN article, actually. Let's see here. Hyundai CEO found out about ICE raid at Georgia plant on the news. And this came out on CNN 2 days ago. You can literally look that up and read the article.
Perfectly. But it's a terrorist organization, in my opinion, and we're going to find out. All those questions are going to be answered.
Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been in favor of free speech.
Yeah,
so do you have concerns about, some people look at this and your critics will say, well, this crackdown is a crackdown on free speech?
It's interesting. I watch your show and I watch others, and I see people saying things. They're crazy. These people are crazed lunatics, even the way they'll answer. It's like you'll see them, and the things they say are really bad, but they look crazy. They're almost crazed. Maybe they're drugged out. Maybe there's some other problem. But the kind of things you hear, you probably don't put most of them on. But the kind of things you hear are so unbelievable. You wouldn't think, you're a very regular person. I am too. I'm a regular person. Who would make the statements that they make? Did you see the guy the other day run through all the flowers that put down in loving memory of Charlie? This maniac runs through the flowers, kicking them.
And the thing is, they only do this because, the left-wing pundits sit there and radicalize them, sit there and say, oh, these are fascists. These are people who don't deserve your respect. The people that don't deserve, literally, they don't deserve your respect, don't deserve your decency, don't deserve your empathy or compassion. F them, they're all fascists. That's the kind of atmosphere that these left-wing pundits have created. And I'm not even going to sit here and blame CNN and MSNBC. I'm honestly going to blame the YouTubers, to be quite honest with you, like myself. On the left, I got to blame these guys, because on the news, it's not as bad, to be quite honest with you. But guys like, what was it? David Beckman, Brian Tyler. Shoot, there's honestly a lot of them. But these guys' rhetoric about Trump is a bit radicalizing. If you listen to them all day, you're going to think this man is like the spawn of Satan. And that's just the wrong image to have about anybody, to be quite honest. Well, unless you're Jeffrey Epstein. Unless it's Jeffrey Epstein, of course.
All down and stepping and stomping on him. Unfortunately, somebody grabbed him and gave him a rap. But the guy looks like a normal guy. And who would do that? I mean, who would do it? Running through these plants.
So that's ruining property. So once you cross the line from just speaking,
it's not the ruining property. It's the concept of doing it. Who would do this?
No, it's horrible.
You have people that are.
But we have the freedom in this country to burn a flag, but not to ruin, someone's. That's the question. Where do you draw the line? I guess.
Well, you can say the ruination of property, because you probably do better with that, because free speech seems to be able to do anything. So you can say, but when I saw this thing, I couldn't believe it. I had to rewind it and say, I love the rewinding.
And let's be real, though. I mean, going through that visual and kicking down all his stuff, and you're expecting, here's the thing. People were trying to say, oh, look how violent MAGA gets. I'm like, dog, let one of your friends die, and I come through there and kick down his stuff. If y'all don't beat my ass, I'm be honest with you guys, you never loved that man. Or let's say one of your friends died, and I came through there and start kicking and all that stuff, saying F your homie. If you don't beat my ass, you ain't never loved that guy.
So without it, we couldn't live.
We really F with him like that.
Because sometimes you can't believe it. But I watched this young guy running through and kicking everything around.
Yeah. And he had a T-shirt on that was the same T-shirt.
It's just a terrible thing. That's the other thing. They have signs, and they're all professionally made. Real protesters make them in their basement. And they're all the same.
So who's behind it? Do you have a gut feeling?
You hear Soros. I don't know. We're going to find out if he's behind it. But it's incitement to riot. That's a criminal act. And people are dying because of it. So it's really, it's death. So we're gonna find out, and it should have been done a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, as a parent and a grandparent, when you look at these stories, right? This guy, Tyler Robinson, Thomas Crooks, who almost took your life, Luigi Mangione has all these people supporting him. What's your advice to parents?
Think about Mangione. He shot someone in the back. As clear as you're looking at me or I'm looking at you, he looked like a pure assassin. I was surprised, actually. You would have thought this guy would have been at a central casting and the movie, and maybe he was.
No, for real though.
He think of what he did. He openly, it's not like, gee, there's a question. If there's a question, you can understand it maybe, but there's not a question. He walked up to a man,
Walked up to a man behind his back and assassinated him for what? Being a healthcare CEO? Yeah, that ain't something that we should be celebrating. I do get that the healthcare industry is corrupt. I mean, well, shoot, I'll agree with y'all all day about that, but to shoot a man and kill him over it? Nah. And the worst part about it, he was already facing charges already for his, like, well, I guess his duplicitous ways, but hey, for some reason, the left feels like they need to take things into their own hands sometimes.
didn't give him warning, didn't say turn around, didn't do like